The Gods and Goddesses of Olympus by Aliki. Most unusual birth. Zeus had been warned that if Metis bore a son, he would depose Zeus, just as Zeus and Cronus had deposed their own fathers. Though Zeus needed wise Metis's advice, he took no chances. One day he lured Metis close with his sweet words and swallowed her. Soon after, Zeus was hit by a horrible headache. He howled for help. Hephaestus fetched his axe and split open Zeus's head. Out sprang Athena, armed for action. Immediately she became her father's favorite advisor. Athena was a warrior who hated war. She admired courage and fairness and sought peaceful ways to settle fights. She also invented many things: the flute, the trumpet, farm tools, and the olive tree. She taught the arts of cooking, spinning, and weaving. Athena had no time for marriage. Athena was the goddess of wisdom, war, and arts and crafts. She was the daughter of Zeus and Metis. Hermes was born ready for action. As his mother slept in her cave, he slipped out of his cradle and went looking for adventure. He saw a tortoise, killed it, and invented the lyre from its shell. As he taught himself to play the instrument, he spied his brother Apollo's cows and stole them. Cunningly, he swept away their hoofprints, and Apollo couldn't find them anywhere. When little Hermes confessed his trick, his brother was furious, but Hermes was shrewd. He knew Apollo loved music and offered him the lyre for the cows. Apollo gave him the cows and more, and left happily with the lyre. Zeus was amused by his clever son, but scolded him too. Hermes promised not to steal or lie again, not much anyway, if Zeus would give him a throne on Olympus. Zeus couldn't resist. Hermes could talk anyone into anything. Hermes grew up to be Zeus's personal messenger and helper. He traveled as fast as the wind on winged sandals. He guided souls of the dead to Hades and brought good luck to travelers everywhere. Hermes was the messenger of Zeus. He was the herald of the gods, and he was the son of Zeus and the nymph Maya. Artemis was just minutes old when she helped with the birth of her twin Apollo. Jealous Hera had been chasing their mother Leto all over the world. Artemis found her a safe place to rest, carried there by the south wind. One day, her proud father asked Artemis what present she would like. Artemis knew exactly what she wanted. She asked for a bow and arrows, like Apollo, so they could hunt together. She asked for a band of nymphs for companions. She asked to stay young forever and never to have to marry. Zeus granted all her wishes and more. Artemis was determined and fought for what she wanted. Her arrows stung and she could cause suffering, but she loved animals and children, and she protected them. Artemis was the goddess of the moon, wildlife, hunting, and she was the daughter of Zeus and the goddess of Leto. She was the twin sister of Apollo. Apollo grew up quickly, as gods do. When he was 4 days old, he asked Hephaestus to make him a silver bow and arrows, and off he went to kill the dreaded serpent Python, which Hera had sent to kill his mother. Apollo was dangerous with his arrows. He punished the guilty, sometimes with the help of Artemis, his twin sister. They were close friends, and both were great archers. Yet Apollo was thoughtful. He advised others that one should search to know oneself. He also believed one should not overdo anything. He said, pan, metron, ariston, which means everything in moderation. Apollo had a tender side to him, too. He healed the sick, cared for animals, and brought delight with his music. No one played the lyre as well, and no one sang as sweetly as Apollo. Apollo was the god of the sun, music, poetry, archery, healing, and prophecy. He was the son of Zeus and the goddess Leto, and he was the twin brother of Artemis. Hades was grim and gloomy as the underworld where he lived. He was also rich, for all the treasures in the ground were his. Hades rarely left his dark kingdom of the dead. When Hermes brought souls to the dead to him, he prodded the unwilling ones into the shadows. He saw that none escaped. Cerberus, his three-headed dog, stood guard at the locked gate. But Hades grew lonely, and he wanted a wife. Zeus said he could have his daughter Persephone, but Zeus knew she would not want to part with her mother Demeter, to live in Hades' gloomy kingdom, nor would Demeter let her go. So Zeus told Hades to kidnap Persephone. Hades rode up into the brilliant sunshine, and that is what he did. Hades was the god of the underworld. He was the son of Cronus and Rhea. Demeter and Persephone were always together. Gentle Demeter loved her daughter and took her wherever she went, as she tended her grain fields. But one day their joy vanished. As Persephone was out with friends picking flowers, she disappeared. No one saw what happened, not even Demeter. She didn't see Hades charge up in his chariot and snatch the lovely Persephone. She didn't see him take her down to the dark underworld to make her his queen. She didn't hear her scream and her cry for her mother. Demeter searched the earth for Persephone. She grew haggard and neglected her fields. At last she heard what had happened. Furious, she told Zeus that until Persephone was returned, she would cause a famine, and she did. Soon fields grew barren, crops and trees withered, animals and people starved. Zeus saw that Demeter meant her words. He sent Hermes to fetch Persephone from Hades. But Persephone had been tricked into eating 4 pomegranate seeds, the food of the dead. That meant she couldn't leave Hades forever. For 4 bleak months a year, 1 for every seed she had to return to the underworld as Hades' queen. Then spring came, the land turned green, the flowers bloomed, for Demeter and Persephone were together again. Demeter, the mother, was the goddess of the harvest, grain, and fertility. She was the daughter of Cronus and Rhea and the mother of Persephone. Dionysus' mother was struck dead by lightning before he was even born. It was an accident caused by jealous Hera. Zeus rescued his unborn son and sewed him up in his own thigh, and there he stayed until he was born. Dionysus was hidden from Hera's sight and was raised among nymphs and wild animals, but eventually Hera found him and drove him mad. Dionysus traveled the world over, teaching the art of winemaking. With him went a band of wild satyrs and maenads. They danced in a frenzy and raised a rumpus wherever they went. Hera had driven them mad, too. Later Dionysus recovered, and despite Hera's protest, was welcomed into Olympus. Kind Hestia gave up her throne for him. She was more comfortable by the hearth. So Dionysus was the god of wine and vegetation. He was the son of Zeus and the mortal princess Semele. Hestia rarely left her palace by the hearth. She saw that the sacred fire of Olympus never died out. She protected every household and hearth on earth and was honored by gods and mortals alike. Hestia, the gentlest of the Olympians, chose not to marry. She had enough to do as the peacemaker of her quarrelsome family. Yet despite all their quarrels, there were harmonious times too, times when they all, each unique god and goddess of Olympus, ascended to their thrones, and they were magnificent. Hestia was the goddess of the hearth. She was the daughter of Cronus and Rhea. So there's Demeter, who with Persephone in her lap, Hermes, Hephaestus, Aphrodite with Eros, Hera, Zeus, Poseidon, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Dionysus, Hestia, and then Hades.